The Browns drafting Shedeur Sanders will ruin the future of the Cleveland Browns. But before I tell you why, this is my first video ever, so it would mean the world if you could subscribe and hit that like button. Alright, let's get to it. With the 144th selection in the 5th round, the Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, QB out of Colorado. A very surprising pick considering they already drafted a QB in Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round. But also surprising at how a QB talent like Shedeur Sanders fell all the way to the 5th round, which is simply unprecedented. To be fully transparent, I am not a draft guy, as in I don't spend hours going over film, but I do spend a good amount of time watching people who do watch film give their own opinions, and the consensus is that Shedeur Sanders was like a late first to a mid-second round talent. So that brings up some questions, right? Like, why am I not happy about that, right? He's a late first to a mid-second round talent, and they got him in the 5th round. That's like amazing value, right? Well, I mean, yeah, it is, right? But I'll get into it. Just wait. But also another question, as in, how did he end up slipping? Well, I think there's a lot of factors in play. First off, he's the son of Deion Sanders, and Shedeur is a big name. And since he's a big name, people know who he is, and teams just don't want to deal with the baggage of a player like Shedeur Sanders, especially if he doesn't have any potential upside to be a top 10 QB one day, which it doesn't project to be. What also contributed to Shedeur Sanders falling was how the Deion Sanders family played the draft. They went about it as if Shedeur Sanders was this like great QB prospect and was projected to go number 1 all boards, like I don't know, like a fucking like Caleb Williams or something. But I mean, he simply isn't that QB. He's not a QB talent like that. And also, if you're drafting Shedeur Sanders, you will more likely don't want him to be a backup, because you can imagine a situation where the starting QB, has a bad game, throws like 3 picks or whatever, and then the fans, you just hear the fans saying, "We want Shedeur," or some shit like that. And then, it's just not a good situation. So now we have a more clear understanding why Shedeur Sanders fell. But why did the Browns take him? It could have been any 29 other teams, but why did the Browns take Shedeur Sanders? Well, in my opinion, it's only because of one man, Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns. I believe he's the sole reason why Shedeur Sanders is a member of the Cleveland Browns. I believe the front office and Andrew Berry wanted no part of Shedeur, considering the way they played the draft. The Browns traded their number 2 pick for Jacksonville's 5th pick and got a future first-round pick and the 36th pick this year, which turned out to be Quinshon Judkins. But I believe they fully intend, or at least before drafting Shedeur Sanders, to use that future draft pick to help give them with assets so they can make a play for a QB in the 2026 draft class. A QB class the analysts believe is way better than this year's QB class, which makes sense on why they would take Dillon Gabriel, as in they probably saw him as someone that could start for the meantime while they evaluate the rest of the roster and the young players that we have, but go get our future guy in the next class. That was the plan. But this plan that we have gets all messed up and murky because of the Shedeur pick. Because, he is a good QB prospect. Like, he probably will come in and play well. But the thing is, he doesn't have any upside. And it's going to be hard to draft a QB. Since Shedeur Sanders will more likely play well, it's going to be hard to draft a QB in the 2026 draft class. Because considering that Jimmy Haslam basically told the Browns, like, fucking take him. Like, it's going to be hard to convince Jimmy Haslam to be like, yeah, move off of your guy after you just played well. And I think us sticking with Shedeur will only lead us to mediocrity. At the end of the day, you just want to give yourself a chance, the best chance to win a Super Bowl. And I feel like the best way to do that is to get an elite quarterback. As in, Burrow's always in it. Or, he was in it the playoffs last year, but if he's in the playoffs, he's always a threat to do it. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Like, the Rams got rid of Jared Goff and they won a fucking Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. Like, you need that quarterback. Unless you have a QB, or not QB, but you have a roster like the Phillies. The Phillies have they had a phenomenal roster, like generational type great roster. and they have a alright QB. It's hard to get a roster like that, you know. You know what? You probably will have some good season with Shedeur. Probably some 10 and 7 seasons. We make the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game, but then we'll get bounced down the next round. We probably have some seasons like that. It's like, okay, let's see, let's add some pieces, but then we'll go 8-8 next season. Kind of like with Baker Mayfield. But then it kind of does leave this question, as in, is it beneficial for the Browns to be bad? I mean, the whole tanking dilemma, right? Like, is it, culture or whatever? Or I kind of, in my head, going into this Browns season as a Browns fan, I'm hoping for, this is kind of weird, but I don't want Shedeur to play 2-0 well enough where we're not able to take a QB in the 2026 draft class. Where it's like, okay, like he played well enough, we could convince ourselves of another year and building around Shedeur Sanders. Cause I feel like, if you have a QB class like this next one, or it looks like it's gonna be, I think you have to take a shot. I feel like you need that elite quarterback. You need to try to get one of those guys. But I'm gonna be rooting for everyone else on the team to do good. I'm a Browns fan. It's hard to wrap, like, it's hard to be like, even okay. I think it's easier like at the end of the year to like, okay, just lose. They don't win these games. But coming into a season, it's like damn, like you ready hoping for us to lose, like shit. Okay, what's the best case scenario realistically for the Browns? We go like 8-8. What's that gonna do? Overperform? We stick it out with Shedeur? No, I just feel like we need that QB. And honestly, this goes back to the Deshaun trade. At the time, I actually really liked the trade, even though, as in, it was kind of a weird fit with Kevin Stefanski's offense and Deshaun Watson, as in he comes for spread. Bill O'Brien's offense, where he really succeeded. But I really like that trade because you're swinging on a QB. And like at the time, he was an elite quarterback. I mean, it was scary because he hasn't played in a year, and also just all those allegations. I mean, he's a fucking weirdo. But I like the swing. I like the swing, and we swung and missed. We swing and missed. Like, it is what it is. But now I think we got to swing again. We got to swing high for QB. We got to draft a QB. I think okay. Now I'm done with the video, but this is my first video ever, and I kind of just planned to just do sports vids more so. Not exclusively football. I'll also do football, but baseball, basketball, singing soccer. But I feel like my sports knowledge isn't. I haven't been into soccer for too long. Or as in. Okay, so I was into football when I was little, but then like I stopped watching it. Now I'm getting back into it, but I'm still not fully back into it where I feel like I could talk about it. So, yeah, all right, see you.